Hi, this is Calvi Rana from Logistics Insider, and I'm joined by Mr. P. Balasubramanian, who is the founder and CEO of ACCIS. Welcome to CCUB 2023, sir. I hope you have had a lovely day so far.
It's my pleasure, and it has been one of the best days actually, because CCUB is always very close to my heart.
So, sir, coming to the question and answers, why don't we start by talking about regulatory compliances? We understand that the government has been taking a lot of initiatives in doing that. How is it helping the coaching industry in particular, and how is the industry utilizing those regulatory compliances for their favor?
The government has indeed been listening to the industry a lot, listening to the trade a lot, and they have taken up the responsibility to say, look, me as a government body, I need to create a conducive environment in terms of the regulatory provisions, in terms of the way it is being implemented, so that trade feels being helped by the government to conduct the trade. Because at the end of the day, we are all one as a country. Whether it is ease of doing business, whether it is the ease of living, everywhere, because as a country we want to achieve. So every arm of the country has got to do its role. So the government has done its role. Have we as an industry fully utilized all the benefits given by government? I would say it's a mixed bag. Partially yes, partially we could do better. I'll just take one example which comes to my mind readily. When there were congestions in air cargo terminals, I'm talking about now general cargo as well. Of course, it includes cold chain. People were always talking, no, there is no 24/7 coverage of customs and other regulatory authorities. So that creates this crowd. Now, English has got two fantastic words, excuse and reason. You now start complaining, thinking that you have put a reason. Now I can make it look like an excuse, because now I bring a 24/7. Now what are you left with? Because even if I bring a 24/7, you come in, you always used to come at 5 p.m. with your truck. I'm just taking an example. And then you want to continue to do why? Your truck is set, your drivers are set, your organizers are set, your logistics manager is set. It is very indirectly telling, look, I will not change. Yeah. It doesn't work that way. Nobody can improve, whether it is my little business or the industry or the whole country. I cannot, unless I have got an open mind and look at how can I make it work. See, at the end of the day, we are all helping each other to grow, basically. Government is helping the industry should help the government. It's both, basically. That is an area where I feel still in India we need to grow up a little bit. Yeah. I fully take cognizance of the associated challenges, associated costs, associated prevention of wastage which is required. I take everything, because if you are a businessman, I'm a businessman, I would look at my, all those parameters. But I'm not convinced that even if I look at those parameters, that I won't get a solution. I'm not convinced. I will get a solution if I open my mind and clearly look at those things. I'll be able to tweak a little bit. I may be able to sort of, and again, if an airport may give me some sort of incentive. Now again, human beings normally take the word incentive to be money, need not be, can be many things. Many times I can just come and tell you, Carvi, you've done a very good job, a pat on your back. That is much more probably a few rupees that I can give you. So it is so I create incentives where there is a little bit of movement from the authorities or the infrastructure guys. So as a trade, I also move a little bit. Maybe from the situation I was in, I may come into a better situation and I may be better than yesterday. Yeah. That is where improvement happens. So quite a bit can be done there.
Well, so I hope the new India takes this advice and utilizes the help from the government, and in turn helps the government improve India at large and businesses.
We have such a great ambition. We want to be the third biggest GDP in the whole world. We wanted to get 10 million tons by 2030 air cargo. We wanted to be high in the logistics performance index. I cannot sit in my easy chair, twiddle my thumb and still expect all these things to happen. I need to get up, roll my sleeves, do the bit I can. Everybody will think, oh, some big things have to be done. No, small things I can do. It is like how you protect environment. If I switch off a light which is unnecessarily being there, or switch off a fan which is unnecessarily going, I've done my bit to the environment. Same thing here in this industry. But all I require is awareness, my attitude, action flows automatically.
Well, it's the little things that matters.
It does.
So coming to my next question, it's on training and knowledge sharing, which has always been brought up in how it can help and maintain an unbroken cold chain throughout. So if you can touch upon that, where does the industry stand right now in that, and what more should it do?
I will start with the positive. We have come a long way because I have been in this industry for 46 years. Certainly you were not born, nor the people around me were born. I have seen not alone availability of training, but even in the quality of training, the availability of inputs has really improved a lot. You take cold chain, for example. Perishable cargo regulations was brought in by IATA, which was not there before. Now that has become a sort of a mandatory manual to follow through. So everybody, they do not go by only their local knowledge. My senior told me this, my supervisor told me this, or I have seen some senior people doing. No, it may be right, it may be partially incorrect as well. So, but I have a standard to follow. When I have a standard to follow, I know exactly what are the right things. So my aim is to reach that standard and sustain that standard all the time. So that means the training programs can be created to meet the standard. You could be tested whether you meet that standard in terms of your understanding, and I can again test you in your place of work whether you are implementing what you learned correctly. There are so many things. These things were unheard of probably when I joined the industry 40 plus years ago. So to that extent, we have come a long way. But I think that honeymoon period of that statement is over because we can't be complacent. No way, no way. Because increasingly, whether it is a pharma industry as a big industry or perishable industry, they demand, and rightly so, quality. They say, don't say I have done my bit, what I can as best as I can as an airline. No. These are my requirements. I want you to fulfill these requirements. So the unspoken word from them is, you better get trained, you better implement it in a sustained manner. You need to be there so that I have trust in you as a transporter. Because I am a pharma industry, you are a transporter. I should have trust in you. Again, it is not enough if you and I alone collaborate. The warehouse guys have got to collaborate. Then the customs clearing people have to be, regulators, everybody have to collaborate. But all of us have, to use a Britisher's word, sing from the same hymn sheet. Correct? So we all have got to say the same song. You can't sing one song and I can't sing another song. So that is what has been brought. But still a lot of things have to be done, because certification in pharma industry through GDP as well as IATA CEIV has brought in a little bit of standardization, because they normally associate training also with as a part of the certification requirement. Sometimes what happens at other levels, you will say, oh, my company is going for certification, I need to go for the training. Whether I like it or not, I will go for that. That is not going to carry my industry forward. I need to maintain the standard and I need to be the leader in this industry. If I have that thought process, then I take the training as a fantastic opportunity for me to not alone learn what is there. I always say, again, since I have been part of IATA and part of ICAO, I write international manuals for the whole world to follow. I always exhort all my Indian youngsters, don't be happy taking rules, make rules. Don't be happy just following what your uncle did, your aunt did, your grandfather did, your grandmother did. No, you create, take the industry forward. You open up opportunities. It could be through a job, it could be by creating an app, it could be by opening a factory, it could be by creating a system. I don't know. You are the best judge for yourselves. You can only be limited by your imagination. Otherwise, there is no limit at all. So that will bring the training to a very high level. Training is important. Again, I must add another small caution there. When companies face financial problems, when they face even a competitive problems or some other, COVID type of problem, it is a fact I need to start cutting costs somewhere. Very unfortunately, I may be tempted to cut costs on training. Quite short-sighted. You are signing your own death warrant unknowingly. That is my statement there. Because the training you do is not for tomorrow, not for tonight. It is for you to do the business. COVID has come. COVID is not going to remain for 100 years, hopefully. So it's going to be probably 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4, whatever. But you need to get up. People have to eat. People have to be clothed. People have to travel. People have to do everything in their life. That day you can't get up and say, oh, I'm not trained for the past 3 years. Let me get everybody. You are trying to put toothpaste back into the tube. It will never happen. So, you need to be very far-sighted thinking. Yes, I have a problem. I have a cost problem. Yes, I will be very prudent in where I cut costs. But there are some essentials I will not be blind to. That is the approach I want every CEO to take.
That's a very well put, and your anecdotes were on point in terms of training and knowledge sharing. Now, sir, I want to ask you a question on reverse logistics of the cold chain. We often talk about how it is difficult to move the cold chain goods from point A to point B. But what happens from point B to point A is
another masterpiece question, I would say, because even when a person builds a system, let us say to check in a passenger. I'm just taking a simple example which every one of us can relate. It's very easy for everyone to think even the smallest point involved in checking in. The passenger will come, stand here, hand baggage, checked in baggage, so many things, 100 points. What happens if that is to be reversed? Very few people will think. The moment that reversal happens, I don't want people to keep the head in the hand and start wondering, what do I do now? Start running to a senior and ask for some. It doesn't work that way. So that is very important. In cold chain or temperature controlled, you use the best of equipment available in the world, and you get a very good distributor, you get the availability, you have a fantastic mechanism to make that available to you. Not too much early, not too much late, just in time, and then you try to do. Then what happens? I can't be sending pharma, say from Mumbai to Frankfurt, and then carry it back from Frankfurt to Mumbai just because my container is there. The purpose is defeated. Cargo is always one way, passenger is two ways. A passenger leaves his or her place, I'm using the word place, could be a hotel, could be a home, or could be anything. The person has to come back somewhere. But the cargo is one way, the place of production and the place of supply to place of demand. That's it, it gets consumed. So cargo is always one way. So how do you do the logistics of all these enabling equipment to be brought back in a cost-effective, time-effective manner? That is very important. Industry has not grown that much to emphasize and put their thoughts on that. That's an area where I would like some youngsters to really take it up, and then especially all these whiz kids and all who are into systems and app creation. They might come up with some excellent answers, or some IITs or IIMs might come up with answers. Some model they may do. Again, it should be time efficient, cost efficient, practical, pragmatic. Otherwise nobody is going to do the job. That's the way. Because I'm diverting for a moment on the safety, because I write the IATA Dangerous Goods Regulation as one of the authors. Safety cover for a pallet. That has been happening for the past 10-14 years, and people have now graduated to have a mechanism by which that is being brought back or utilized without wasting it or without getting delayed. So it came. When we all were faced with that question, we were all daunted with that. We said, God, how do we going to do? But we did find an answer finally. Same thing has to happen here. That was a very good question. I appreciate that.
Well, sir, you have touched upon so many good, insightful points in this interaction, and I hope the industry takes notes of it. Sir, and thank you so much for your time today, sir.